Welcome to the deep dive. This week, well, we're digging into something pretty fascinating based on the sources you shared: travel, exploring new places. But it's clear you're thinking beyond just vacation photos.
Absolutely. The goal here is to really get to the heart of why getting out there matters.
Yeah.
For personal growth, understanding different cultures, just general well-being. We're trying to pull out those core insights from everything you sent over.
Yeah, and the material covered a lot, like that basic human curiosity, how travel changes you, the whole cultural immersion thing,
Yeah,
handling challenges, and also traveling responsibly. It's quite a mix.
definitely.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. What actually pushes us to, well, leave home?
Well, looking at some of the psychology in the
Mhm.
sources, it seems like there's this deep-seated, almost innate human drive.
Yeah.
Curiosity, wanting to see what's over the next hill.
Right. It feels fundamental.
It really does. Part of being human, maybe.
And it's more than just seeing new stuff, isn't it? It's also that need to break the routine, get away from the daily grind. Travel offers that mental reset.
Yeah, a total refresh.
Yeah.
And linking that to learning, several pieces you shared stress that travel is active education. You're not just looking, you're
Right.
in it, experiencing history, culture, geography with all your senses.
Mhm.
Think about those examples, walking through Rome's ancient streets or feeling the quiet in Kyoto's temples. You're actually there.
Exactly. Being physically present makes all the difference. Like, I'd seen countless pictures of the Egyptian pyramids, but standing there, feeling that scale, that history, it's completely different.
Totally different. It makes the abstract real tangible.
Yeah.
And some other sources pointed out it's not just the massive landmarks either. Sometimes it's the small things, the everyday life moments that stick with you.
Oh, for sure.
Like that example of just sitting in a cafe in Morocco, watching the world go by.
Mm.
Those simple observations can be incredibly powerful.
I completely agree. That's where you start to kind of feel a place, isn't it? Beyond the tourist checklist.
Hmm.
And it's often in those moments that stereotypes start to crumble. You see the reality, not the preconceived idea.
Yeah, exactly. Which leads nicely into how travel shapes us personally, our own evolution.
Mm.
Dealing with unfamiliar situations, maybe a language barrier, it forces you to be more adaptable.
More open-minded, yeah.
You have to be. You're constantly adjusting.
And problem solving too. Like missing that bus you mentioned in the notes. You have to figure things out,
I
right?
do. And that builds resourcefulness, doesn't it? Thinking on your feet.
Definitely. And success in those small moments, like managing to order food or asking for directions, even badly,
Right.
it boosts your confidence.
It really does. It reinforces that you can handle things.
You're sort of stretching yourself constantly. And as the sources mentioned, seeing how other people live their daily realities, that builds empathy, right?
Hugely.
Mm.
Seeing different ways of life, different challenges, different joys.
And some sources touched on how that can make you appreciate your own situation more, maybe. Like that volunteering story from Nepal, seeing warmth and generosity, even with few material resources.
Exactly. It shifts perspective and
Yeah.
gratitude. Yeah.
And what about the people you meet? Those connections you make, sometimes fleetingly, but they can be really strong.
Oh, absolutely. Shared experiences, even just navigating confusing situation together, can create these surprisingly deep bonds, cutting right across culture or language.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when that happens.
It really is. And that ties into the whole cultural learning aspect. The sources really hammered home the educational value of experiencing traditions directly.
Right. Like the Japanese tea ceremony example. It wasn't just drinking tea, it was observing the detail, the respect, the mindfulness.
Yeah, the whole atmosphere.
It gave me a feel for Japanese values that, well, reading just couldn't.
Or the Indian wedding example, the colors, the music, the rituals. It's a full sensory immersion.
Totally.
Textbooks can describe it, but they can't replicate that feeling, that depth of understanding you get from being there.
No way. And speaking of senses, let's talk food. The sources definitely highlighted food as a major pathway to understanding a culture.
Oh, absolutely. Food
Yeah.
tells you
Right.
so much about history, local resources, the people themselves. Think Thai street food or Italian nonnas pasta.
Each dish has a story.
Exactly. And sharing a meal, that's such a fundamental human connector, isn't it?
It really is. It breaks down barriers like nothing else.
And even just trying to speak the language, a few words, it shows respect.
Yeah. People appreciate the effort, even if you butcher it.
Totally. It can open doors, lead to better interactions, more authentic moments. You don't need to be fluent. Just trying makes a difference.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Creativity. The sources mentioned travel sparking new ideas. For artists, writers.
Yeah, getting out of your usual environment, seeing things differently, it can really shake things up creatively, breaks down mental ruts.
Gives you a fresh perspective.
Exactly. It exposes you to new stimuli, new ways of thinking.
I know for me, journaling while traveling felt different, more intense maybe. The new experiences helped me find, well, more of my own voice.
That makes sense. And that example about painting more after visiting Portugal because of the light,
Right.
it shows how the actual sensory environment can trigger creativity.
So true. Okay, but let's be real. Travel isn't always smooth, is it? Delays, lost bags, language mix-ups. The sources acknowledge that.
Oh, yeah. Things go wrong. That's part of it.
But the point was to sort of reframe those challenges,
Yeah.
right, as part of the adventure.
Exactly. Often those are the stories you end up telling later. They become memorable precisely because they were challenging.
Like getting on the wrong train in Germany and discovering that amazing little village by accident.
Perfect example. Sometimes the best bits are unplanned.
Serendipity.
Yeah, embracing the unexpected. That's often where the magic happens.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about personal gain, but the source is also stressed responsibility. Traveling well.
Crucial point. It's not just about what we get out of it. It's about our impact.
So, respecting local customs.
Definitely. And supporting local businesses, being mindful of the environment.
It's about being a good guest, essentially. Recognizing you're visiting someone else's home.
Yeah, humility is key. Listening, observing, not just imposing your own ways.
Right.
Responsible travel is really about mutual respect, ensuring these places we love visiting stay wonderful, and that the interaction is positive for everyone involved. It's a two-way street.
Well put. So as we wrap this up, what are the big takeaways from all this material?
I think it's that fascinating tension, seeing the incredible diversity across the globe, but also recognizing that fundamental human connection underneath it all.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest thing is just how much personal growth happens when you push yourself, step outside that comfort zone.
Right. So thinking about travel not just as like leisure time, but as a real tool for learning, for changing, for connecting.
Exactly. Catalyst.
And importantly, as the sources suggested, this exploration doesn't have to mean a massive trip. It can start small, right?
Absolutely. Explore a new neighborhood nearby, try food you've never had, talk to someone with a different background. It all starts with curiosity.
Just being curious.
Yeah. That's the engine.
So the final thought might be just embrace that curiosity, because even small explorations, as we've seen, can widen your world, deepen your understanding of things, and ultimately help you understand yourself a bit better, too.